Welcome to a brief training about accommodations for counselors and case managers at Hayfield. You'll note that there's a tiny URL below that you can type in to find this presentation and access the slides and the links that are contained here at your own convenience and in more detail. During this training, I will briefly go over a few trouble spots that we see at Hayfield often and give you a few reminders. So let's get started. First thing I want to point out during the Mythbusters section is that there's a really important piece of information here, and that is that Katie and I, the people that look at test accommodations and implement those test accommodations that we find in an IEP or a 504 plan, cannot see accommodations if they are not in a completed IEP or 504 plan. So if the plan is still open and workflow has not been closed, we don't know that there are new accommodations. We go by the current IEP and we look at the Test Accommodation tab. There are a few accommodations that I will talk about that are not in the Test Accommodations tab, and we look for those in a specific place too. But otherwise, if an accommodation is not listed as a test accommodation in the current IEP or current 504 plan, there is no way that Katie or I will know that this accommodation should be given to the student. So please make us aware if you have any very special situation students who may have an IEP that's being contested but need certain accommodations. So please let us know if there's somebody who has accommodations that we won't find in the Test Accommodations tab of the IEP or the 504 plan. I also want to point out that there is the very big importance of looking at past accommodations and deciding what is relevant for the student now. Sometimes I look at test accommodations in IEPs or 504 plans, and it seems that the case manager has selected all the accommodations that may have been possible or that were once given to the student. It's important to note that what a student used in the past may not be relevant for either their ability level and skill level for this current school year, or it may not be relevant for the classes they are taking. So I'll talk about some examples of those later. Please be careful and mindful to choose accommodations that really make sense and that are accommodations that will align with what the student receives in class. If an accommodation is selected in the IEP or 504 plan and the student never uses that accommodation and the teacher never implements that accommodation in the classroom, what good is that accommodation going to be on the test? The student will not be familiar with it and then will be frustrated with these extra tools and resources being provided during the test that they've never accessed at any other time. Similarly, just like we don't want to give accommodations, carry through accommodations that aren't needed in the current year that have been used in the past, we also want to look and make sure that we do find accommodations that were used in the past and that might be useful now. This is really important to do, especially during 7th grade and 9th grade. There are a lot of ways that you can do a good data dive, a records review for your students coming into you, especially special education teachers. You have some teachers like Kathy Dennison who have a lot of experience with this and would be happy to assist you if you have questions about how to do this records review. But the idea behind this is finding accommodations that were used either in elementary school or in middle school and figuring out if those accommodations should be applied in high school or if they're coming from elementary school in middle school. This can really help make things smooth and we don't end up with a situation where students arrive at testing and say, wait, but I'm supposed to have paper pencil tests. And here they've been scheduled for an online test with their peers. That kind of thing can be solved by a records review early in the school year. All right, During these next 3 slides, I'm going to go over a couple common trouble spots that I see very commonly at Hayfield, particularly on the high school side. And if we can get in a groove together and work on a common language and a common understanding for these accommodations, it will solve a lot of things and require a lot less back and forth between me, Emily, and you, the counselor or case manager, throughout the year. If I can find it neatly and clearly articulated in the IEP or 504 plan, I don't have to ask questions and scramble later, and it doesn't put you on the spot later. So this is something we can all solve if it's taken care of at the beginning of the year. First thing I'd like to talk about is group size. This used to be accommodation number 32 that you would check on the accommodation tab. Group size is now considered a test adjustment. So the way you'll mark this accommodation is not on the accommodation tab by checking accommodation 32 anymore. Now you must put it into the plot page and onto the needs page. So when you do that, or if you're a counselor, you would do this in the written description on the 504 plan. When you do this, please make sure that you tell me what group size they needed. Does the student need one-on-one? Please use that stringently. Does the student need less than 15? Or does the student need less than 30? If a classroom can be considered a small group for this student, please just put less than 30. That allows me to put the student in a regular classroom setting. That's important. I would avoid putting the student in the lecture halls or in the cafeteria, the gym, any big space. That means I would only assign that student ever for testing in a classroom size. Obviously that's preferable because then I can fit more small group students with that student, and it's a better student to proctor ratio. So please specify so that I know how small of a small group I need to put the student with. Please review on your own about paper pencil. That's a very strict accommodation. There are rules regarding that, and you can look at that information when you're looking at the PowerPoint on your own. On this slide, I want to go over a graphic organizer first. Graphic organizer is accommodation number 4 that is checked on the test accommodations tab. For students who use graphic organizers, this typically at Hayfield means on the writing test, the counselor or the teachers and case managers have agreed that the student should have some type of graphic organizer to help them organize their writing and thoughts. That's fine. There are some specific accommodations, specific graphic organizers that have been approved by the Office of Assessment and Reporting, and I'll share that with you when you check this accommodation. It's important that the student knows this graphic organizer and uses it regularly. Otherwise, it's just an extra piece of paper that I hand to them. Please note, I often see graphic organizer checked for math and science tests. If you are meaning that the student should have a page of formulas, a formula sheet for a math test, that is something that every student gets. So a graphic organizer, if that's all you mean, does not need to be checked. If you mean in chemistry that the student should get a periodic table, that is provided online to all students. If you wish to have a periodic table on paper, that is a special accommodation, and we need to talk about that individually. That's a special situation. So if you check accommodation number 4 on any test other than the writing test, I will be curious to know if you just mean things like a formula sheet, in which case you shouldn't have checked accommodation number 4, or if you mean something more specific like a colored graphic overlay that some dyslexic students use. So please be mindful and be judicious when you choose accommodation number 4. The other area that's probably the most common that is an issue for IEPs that I run into in the spring and have to come back to case managers and counselors and ask about is the audio and the read aloud checkboxes. Let's talk about this very briefly. If a student needs read aloud on demand, meaning they can raise their hand and have someone read to them whatever they wish at any time. Audio should suffice. The online audio program works in such a way that students can select what they want to hear. They can highlight the piece of text they want to hear. They can speed it up, slow it down, they can repeat it, they can pause it, they could hear it as often as they want. So if you want a student to have read aloud on demand, but you think the online audio program could provide that to the student, they don't need an actual human to sit beside them and answer their hand whenever they raise it, then please just check online audio. That's 11O in the Test Accommodations tab. If you want students to have read aloud, that's accommodation for read aloud, then please make sure that you only select that for students where you really believe the student needs a human to sit beside them and read aloud. They may get read aloud in the classroom because a teacher doesn't have a recorded version of themselves for every test to give the student. But when it comes time to testing, please choose online audio if that's sufficient for the student. And that way I will know that the version of this accommodation that will be provided during test times is online audio and they can use headphones, even though they may be having tests read aloud to them by their teacher in the classroom. So if that's sufficient and you check online audio, that could mean the student is getting read aloud in the classroom or read on demand. And I won't have to come back to you and say, hey, I see read aloud. Do you mean that? Or do you actually want them to have online audio? The reason I'm so picky about this is because if you choose read aloud and you really need them to have a human reader, I have to assign them a private testing room with 2 proctors. That's a huge use of resources. I'm happy to do it if it's what's really needed. But if it's not really needed, I need to know, and it's helpful to know up front rather than in crunch time when I'm working on scheduling tests. So please be careful when you choose this. If the student can use the online audio and use the headphones and the start and stop feature and repeat text and listen to it at their pleasure, please select 11O in the Test Accommodation tab. That's online audio. Also, let me talk about breaks really briefly. 31B is commonly chosen by teachers, case managers, and counselors at Hayfield as an accommodation for students, and you mean breaks as needed. That's fine, but let's talk about this. Any student can have a break as needed. Any student can raise their hand and ask to go get a drink of water, go to the restroom at any time during the test. So when you select this as an accommodation for SOL tests, it really has no meaning. That is because 31B technically should be used for more specific types of breaks, and that should be specified in the Needs and Accommodations tab. For example, a student might need to take a break every 10 questions, or they might need to be reminded that they should take a break after 30 minutes. That would be a special kind of break that would be outside of what every student can have. And if that's the accommodation, it would be described in the Needs and Accommodations tab. So please be mindful when you use 31B in the Test Accommodations tab, check that box only if it's a very special kind of break. One of the last pieces of information that I want to emphasize is regarding the rule of 2 and the requirements or the understanding that we have at Hayfield for the rule of 2. The rule of 2 happens whenever we have a student who requires a special accommodation to be given in a one-on-one setting, especially if the proctor has to read test components to the student. This happens when we have accommodations 10, 14, 18, 21, 25, and 30. And when we have the rule of 2, case managers and counselors are expected to be one of the proctors for their students requiring the rule of 2. So when you select those accommodations, please be aware that that means you will be helping to proctor in that special test situation. That's something you can be aware of as you're choosing accommodations so it doesn't take you by surprise. Finally, I just want to remind you to make sure to look out for your small group students, and thank you so much for attending this training.